Hello guys, welcome back. Now in this session we are going to discuss about data types in Terraform. So let's look into the agenda. What are the topics we are going to cover in this session? So guys, in this session we will start with a demo, and with the help of demo we will understand that how to create a string variable within Terraform, and we will also look into the example by which how we can bind our variable so that it can accept only the string values. In the same aspect we will also look into the number data type. Once we understand the number data type, then we will look into the list data type within Terraform, and at last we will look into the map data type. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code. To understand all these concepts. So guys, this is the demo for understanding the data type. So over here, if we will look into that, I have created a TF file which contains the configuration to create the EC2 instance on this Ubuntu image, and with the help of this image we are going to create t3.micro instance. So this is about this configuration information. One another thing you have noticed over here that I have used a new keyword over here is that is data. So with the help of this data keyword we are able to fetch the information from AWS, and what information we want to fetch, those configuration or those argument we have specified over here. If you are not understanding any of the configuration detail, don't worry, you will come to know about it once you finish this course. For this particular example, you have to just focus upon here we are passing the value directly. Instead of that, I want to assign the value to this argument through the variable, and this argument is accepting the string value. So the variable which is providing the value to this argument should be string. So first of all, we have to create the variable. Same way, we are having a version number. We also want that this number should come from a variable and which is of type number. Another thing which you will see it over here, that is HVM, and when it is coming within the square bracket, that means it is a list, and we want that this value is also come from the variable which is of type list. And at last, if you will look into over here, then you will find that the tags contains the key pair value. This is nothing but a map variable. This also I want to come from the variable which is of type map. So how we will create that? The steps are very simple. So the first step, you have to create a file called variables, which we have already seen in our last example, and this is going to hold the variable information. So let's look into that once. So to make it more meaningful, I am going to use instance type that is also of type string. So let's look into that. So over here I will first define variable, and here I will specify the name which we have already seen in our last session, and within that I am going to specify type, and then we will specify the type. So here I am going to tell that it should be of type string. So I will tell string over here. Same way, if I want to create another variable which will holds the number, for example, I want to keep the version. So over here again I will create a variable, and here I will tell that version number, and this version I want to pass it from here. So I will tell that it should be number. The third type of variable which we have discussed is the list. So whenever we are having this square bracket, so that means it is of type list. For example, I want to pass the filter variable from the variable. So I'm going to use over here, and I will tell variable filter value that is of type list, and at last we are having the map variable. So over here for tags, I'm going to create another variable that is tag name, or say tags name, and over here I will specify type equal to map. Now save it. So this is our first step. Second step, now we will reference it. So first we will reference the string variable. So here I am going to tell that var dot instance type. Then to come to the number, over here we will tell that var, and the name of the variable we should copy over here dot version number. Now next, the list one. So over here we have specified for this one for example purpose. So here I will tell that filter value. So I will tell var dot filter value. So we have specified list variable to this argument. Next we need to specify the map variable. For map variable again we need to specify var dot, just copy the name so that we will not do any typo. Now save it. So this is the second step. So far we have created the variable name and their type, and then we have reference it. Now we need to pass the value. So how we can pass the value, which you already know that. So over here we need to create a file called terraform.tfvars. So from this file we are going to pass the values. So let's copy the name of each of the variable. So you should come here, paste it, and then we will assign the values, whichever the values we want to use it. So let's copy each of the variable, and at last we are having tags name. Now specify the values over here. So for this variable I am going to specify t3.micro. Version number is going to be 3.6. I want that the provider should be 3.6. Filter value I need to specify HVM, if you remember. So HVM we need to specify, make sure that it should be in double quotes. And at last we need to specify the tag name, if you remember. So over here we need to specify the map values. So whenever if you are using these curly braces and if you are passing the key pair value like this, name equal to, and I am going to tell that hello world. So here this part of the variable is key and this part is the value. So this key pair value is together making the map variable, and map variable syntax is this one. So here it start with curly braces. Within that you need to specify the key and the values, and it should be closed with the curly braces. So now we have done with the variable assignment. So we have assigned the values to each of the variables of different types of variable. For this case we are handling a string. We are understanding how to pass the value to a string. This is for number, this is for list. For list variable you can pass multiple values within this. For example, if you have some other values, so you can pass from this place, but for this example we need to just pass only one value. So over here we need to tell that this is for list, and at last we are looking into the map. This is for map. Now save it. Let's run it. So as usual, to run it, go to view and terminal. Make sure that you are first executing the Terraform in it. For my case I have already run it, and then you should write Terraform plan. So let's execute it. Terraform plan. So we got an error. So this is what I wanted to show you with the help of this error. So what happened that we have used the variable reference within the provider block of the code. That is not allowed. So here one point to remember, we got that we should not use any kind of a variable reference within the provider block. So you have to make sure that if you have used it, you should remove it, because it is not allowed. So instead of that we will specify the values. So let's save it and let's try to run it again. So we will tell that Terraform plan and enter. So now it is fetching the data, and now it has given us the plan. And if you will look into the plan, so then you will find that it has accepted all the values which we have passed. So now the question comes over here is, okay, what is the use of the data type? Then to answer your question, I would tell that data type help us to write very robust configuration file so that user will not pass the haphazard value. So what it means, let's understand with an example. So if you will go into the tfvar file and if you try to pass any of the haphazard value for any of the data type, for example, if I want to pass a string value from here, so let's look into that what will happen. So here we are telling that with the help of variable file, we are telling that this particular variable should accept the type of map value, but here we are passing a string. So let's look into the program execution whether it is throwing any error or not. So we will tell that Terraform plan enter. Then you will see it over here. Terraform throws an error and it is telling that you are passing a invalid value. It is expecting a map type of values and you are passing a string over here. So now you understand that how we are binding the user to pass the expected values. So for this I am going to replace it again, save it, and again I will run the Terraform plan so that we will not get an error. So over here it has successfully executed and you will see that it has given us a configuration plan for this particular configuration file, and everything is as expected over here. And this is what I wanted to demonstrate you in this session. So let's sum up this session. So guys, in this session we have understand that data types in Terraform. In this aspect we have looked into string data type, number data type, list data type, and map data type. And we have also looked into the example how to use data type within the variables. We have also looked into where to not use variable, like provider block we don't use the variables. We have also discussed about benefit of specifying the data types within the variable so that user will not pass any kind of haphazard value to the variable. So on this note I am stopping over here. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.